Do 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 do. Welcome to the Red Bean Podcast, the New Orleans edition. I am Mr. Toad, and
I'm Dr. Frog.
Excellent. I have to tell you, this place was awesome. It was a hibachi place. Can you give us
in fact, name? This was your first hibachi place.
Yeah.
It's called Ikura.
Ikura.
On Carrollton Road. North Carrollton, I should say.
I have to say, it was freaking awesome. The food was delicious. We had to wait there for, 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
For a table to open. Yeah, it was packed for a Saturday night. It made sense.
Yeah, and the show, I think that's where the showmanship was really what you're going there for.
Fire
right?
and singing. Yeah, I'm sure they build it into the price. If you're just looking for sushi or fish or rice, you can get it.
And the
cheaper somewhere else, but
was
there's definitely
so good.
Oh yeah, there's the yum yum sauce. They also had a teriyaki sauce, and I'm sure they mixed soy sauce and teriyaki sauce in with some of the noodles.
It was so. Well, I think you had the lobster, and then I had the filet mignon.
Yeah, how did you enjoy yours?
It was so juicy. It was like I couldn't get over how juicy it was.
It was medium, maybe a little bit rare in the middle.
I had a medium because I was like, I want it a little bit bloody. So how was the How was the lobster? I didn't even get to ask you.
It was chewy, but it was good lobster. I'm used to sort of fresh lobster, so it was a bit different. But yeah, I was in the mood for lobster. In New Orleans, as you know, we have a lot of shelled fish. Oysters, crawfish, a lot of things like this. But I was in the mood for lobster. I haven't had lobster in years. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's a good place to have it anyways.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big seafood fan rather than some of the more red meat out there. So I was more likely to get lobster than steak, for example.
I love the artwork that was hanging on the walls.
I noticed that too, yeah. There's some wonderful tapestries. They separated the restaurant into maybe a seating dining area,
yeah,
a hibachi area, and then it looked like they had a sort of bar sushi counter.
Yeah,
where you could see the fish and people prepare things. So it was very lively, packed for a Saturday night.
I like the aspect where our cook / server, I don't know how you would call him, but what did you think about when he tossed us the
a little bit of egg.
Yeah, the little egg and catch in your mouth.
The egg for the egg fried rice. And then, I'm glad he started off with the kids. Because, I was wondering if he was going to go around the whole table. But, focusing on the kids, that's really what it's there for. They're having fun.
I was a little nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, when he finally got to me.
Also, there was a line of people who caught the fish or the egg in their mouth leading up to you, so the pressure was really on.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here.
You don't want to be the one person to have, no pun intended, egg on your face.
I was like, oh no, I don't know if I'm going to catch it. So I opened my mouth. I was like, and he just landed in there perfectly. And then all of a sudden, I'm looking at you, being like, no pressure, no pressure.
Did I tell you no pressure, or was that afterwards? This is how out of it I was. I don't even remember if I said that or not. But I might have been repeating no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Like a fool.
And then all of a sudden it was your turn to catch it in your mouth, and I'm just looking at you being like, I hope you catch it.
I looked at it and screamed, like, this is what we train for. And there you go. But yeah, the techniques, the major flaws in catching egg in your mouth, people either kind of smile or they make their mouth kind of thin so it bounces off the teeth, or it hits their nose if it's not looking upward, because he was tossing them with a bit of an arc, and so you have to think of it as dropping into the mouth. So you want to relax the jaw. If you've ever done Shakespeare, you'll want 2 to 3 fingers wide when you're speaking so you can enunciate. And so if you keep that 2 to 3 fingers wide mouth, try to make an O, and then just catch it like a basket, maybe. If you've ever played Brick Out or Pong, just do the same thing, but with egg flying through.
Next time we go there, we definitely have to check out the sushi, because right now we're looking on the menu of the restaurant, and they got crawfish rolls, So if someone was coming out of town being like, I kind of want to experience New Orleans, but I love sushi.
Or maybe
Really
you
love it.
want a little bit of spice. You know, you don't want just maybe you're from California and you're sick of California rolls and avocados everywhere.
And you're like, I kind of want to have something New Orleans.
Spicy. Something a little bit spicy.
And you're just like, wait a second, crawfish roll?
They probably have spicy mayo on them, I'm sure.
I like it.
But either way, yeah, there's a crunchiness to the crawfish rolls.
I love it because it gives everyone a little exposure to New Orleans food. And how would you describe this place? Would you describe this as definitely being a place, graduation, maybe a 50th anniversary, or...
Yeah, the price was, you know, if you want the normal sort of $20 hibachi with your vegetables or chicken, then you're looking at that. But on lobster, filet mignon, you're looking at the $30 to $40 mark. So I could picture this being more of a special occasion place.
Yeah. I also
a place for maybe graduations or birthdays.
And especially if you're cheering for LSU, they have an LSU roll. It has fried shrimp, snow crab inside, fresh tuna, and mango on top.
Speaking of which, LSU won that night. So if you're into superstitions, every time you go, Mr. Toad, it's a 100% guaranteed LSU win at Ikara's Hibachi House.
Oh my gosh.
You don't want to break the streak if there's a big game.
Someone might break my legs before I try to get there.
And you know, you bring up that point. They actually had a few TVs, but I feel like it was still an intimate setting.
Yeah.
With the chef, and the TVs were far enough away that it didn't feel like a sports bar or like a normal sort of family sit down.
I liked how our server was just so like putting on a show / cooking / yum 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 and throwing food at us.
Yes, yum yum stuff.
It's I just think it's so cool that we got that level of interaction.
You know what I was impressed with of the tricks. It might not look like much, but it was the very first one where he was flipping the egg for a while, and then he has it land and stop on the edge of his spatula.
Ooh.
And then it slowly gets sliced in half, and he cracks it with the spatula before like putting it in the trash. I think that was a really cool, unique move that set the tone for the night. I feel like the tricks he was doing for us were a little more adult.
Yeah.
There were other servers with more kids at their table, and those servers were a little bit louder. You know, they had more, you know, props. Like I think there was a rubber chicken.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think it's good that they play up to the different age ranges that are there.
Yeah, because I remember for us, it was like a family, I believe, and then it was a couple across from us.
Yeah.
And I remember they first tossed the food in her mouth, and she kind of missed. And she was like, I don't know, you want to try it again?
The kids in the family first, and then they went to her.
Yeah, but I remember she missed. She's like, no, I'm not going to go for round two. And all of a sudden, they're like, they tried the kids, and they caught them, and all of a sudden, they're looking at me like, all right, let's do it. And I just opened my mouth.
Do it. There you go.
I didn't even know what was going on. I just opened my mouth like, oh.
It's just a natural reaction. I mean,
I just bring it in.
There you go. At least it's not like a carnival game where they charge per toss. You know?
That's right. I mean, I was going to get expensive. If it gets
toss cubes of filet mignon.
It's like, this is going to get a little expensive, guys, if this hits the ground here. But I enjoyed it, and you caught it in your mouth, which I was like, I remember being like,
right?
I know, I was like looking at you like, oh man, I hope you catch it, man, because you're going to be like, you're going to break the chain.
Yes, it went catch me.
Yeah.
And I caught it.
And you caught it. And I was like, damn.
I was really worried about that.
I was looking at you being like, oh,
you know what's weird? What inspired me as I saw the 3 or 4 people make it is I thought back to Larry Bird during an NBA shooting contest. Old footage of Larry Bird making 5 of them in a row.
Okay.
And I actually thought of Larry Bird as I was like, okay, here's number 5 for me. And then I kind of did that to pump myself up. But it's wild what goes through your mind before you do some ridiculous egg fetching.
And we're looking at some of the on the menu, and it's kind of cool. This wasabi roe sushi.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like fish eggs or something.
Well, roe, right?
Roe, yeah. And then you got these little it's like a salmon.
Wasabi, it's a green, so I'm sure there's a dye involved in.
There's a wasabi involved.
Most wasabi, as we talked about when we visited Kano's, it's sort of dyed horseradish paste. The fresh wasabi is a little bit chunkier, dark green, liquidy. It's a plant that they bring in.
It's not a paste.
Yeah,
or it gets mashed into it.
In this one, there's probably flavoring of some sort. With, food dye, but I'm not sure. I haven't tried that one, so I can't speak.
But definitely, this is a place you'd suggest for most people. This is not like a one-time deal. It's like you want to go there a couple times to maybe try different things on the menu.
And maybe you're not in the mood for hibachi. Maybe you just want sushi. A lot of people, this is the sign of a good restaurant. A lot of people are just picking up food from there.
Yeah.
And that tells me they're not just going there to get out of the house.
Yeah.
They're not just going there to, keep the kids entertained. They're there because the food's good.
Yeah, and you think the pricing was fair for the most part, right?
I think it was fair. It had something for everyone. If you wanted the more cheap sushi and soup, and it could be very pricey. I was thinking Preiswert, which is the German word for cost effective. But I think it also has those specialty rolls and hibachi. And if you want, you can mix filet mignon with some other meats and get additional sides. You can make it as extravagant as you want.
And there's also a chance if someone who is maybe vegetarian or something, they had some tofu steak, which is kind of cool.
Really?
Yeah, they had tofu. Yeah,
I love tofu.
Because the cool thing, the cool thing about tofu, I've always liked it, is that it absorbs up the flavor of the meat, so it's like the boneless meat or something.
I love if working with tofu is pretty difficult, but sometimes I'll walk around Costco and there's those big packages of tofu. I've always wanted to work with some of them, but it just seems to fall apart whenever I try to fry it or work with it. But yeah, tofu steak, that makes me want to go back tomorrow. Yeah. I'm trying that out. I'm seeing here it's very cost effective.
Sure, it doesn't seem too badly priced, and we're just kind of looking at the menu right now.
For those who are vegan out there, besides maybe tofu steak, other substitutes of meat that I recommend for some eggplant. Sometimes if you're doing an eggplant chili, you can use eggplant instead of the meat. Similarly, you could use maybe a good portobello mushroom.
Yeah.
Sometimes those thicker mushrooms, they activate those things that make you think you're chewing on meat. But yeah, that's why there's mushroom burgers and things like this.
The other thing I also liked was that it was kind of funny that we both kind of asked for the same drink, the Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
I remember you were telling me about the whole Shirley Temple story. I think our listeners / viewers would love to hear about that story.
Shirley Temple was one of the most well-known child actresses.
Black and white,
of her day. And sometimes they would do business meetings at bars, and so she would order a Shirley Temple, which is essentially 7-Up or Sprite with grenadine sauce or cherry syrup mixed in, and so she would frequently order it during these business meetings, and so it kind of caught on.
Yeah, it was great. And
watch out, if you order it sometimes at a bar, they'll assume you want it dirty, so they'll put in vodka, but Shirley Temple is a non-alcoholic drink.
Yeah, and it was refreshing with that grenadine. I've always liked it.
In fact, I used to have a bottle of grenadine syrup in my house.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So whenever you were over visiting, little did you know you could have ordered...
I could have had a Shirley Temple
at
your place.
Drink.
Wow, I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to bogart my... grenadine syrup, which, by the way, I'm sure you know what Bogart comes from, right?
What's that?
So Bogart, it's a bit of a smoking term if you're just, if you're hogging a certain material. So Humphrey Bogart, who you probably remember.
Yeah.
He's a very famous actor, right? So
sure.
He smoked a lot. In those movies,
I believe it.
He smoked a lot of cigarettes, and
I'm sure they found a lot of tar in that guy's lungs when he passed.
So I've never smoked a cigarette, but sometimes what people do if they're sharing a cigarette or other substances, they'll say don't bogart that, which means
really
hog it. Don't drag the entire cigarette. Don't. So for example, if we have 4 mochi ice creams, and I say, "Hey, do you want some?" and you take all 4 of them,
It's too much.
I'd say, "Hey, man, don't Bogart those."
Yeah, don't
those
Bogart.
Bogart.
Don't hog it.
Yeah, don't Humphrey Bogart it. But people say Bogarting, right? So don't Bogart it.
Yeah, don't Bogart it.
Do people still use this slang? I feel like it's like grody. It's falling out.
I haven't heard it in a really, really, really long time.
Really? You haven't heard Bogarting?
No, I haven't heard Bogart in a long time. But I will say...
But Shirley Temple knew about Bogart.
Well, she definitely knew about it.
Well, maybe, actually, in the 30s.
But I think overall, this is a great place to go and have like a party. It looks like you can reserve a spot there. The food seems well priced.
Yes.
Out of a score, 1 out of 10, 10 being awesome, and 1 being like
I would say
you have to go to the emergency room to get your stomach pumped.
For what it is, I would say a 9. I do think they're a little bit understaffed.
I felt like they were understaffed too.
I think they had one hostess for 7 hibachi or 6 hibachi tables plus a whole restaurant side. I think they had 1 or 2 waitresses. If you needed an extra drink or an extra pair of chopsticks, I felt like it was maybe a little bit understaffed. If you had to look around to see who worked there.
Do you think someone should call like ahead of the time, or is this kind of a place we can just show up and be like, "Hey, what's up"?
What I like is you can certainly go the reservation route and secure a specific time. Like if you have a specific party, parties I think are up to 15 people.
Yeah,
is what I read. But at the same time, we showed up without a reservation, and 20 minutes isn't a bad wait for prime time. No. Saturday night, we walk in. Where's our seat?
Yeah, and as we're talking about this on the show, you'll be seeing like a slideshow of the things we ate and stuff. But here's the cool thing.
Hopefully, not the, hopefully not the food we ate. The food before we ate it.
The food because you don't want to see it afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think you want to see the food that we ate. But the food that we were about to eat.
It's definitely been processed.
Yeah, the food we were about to eat. Yeah.
About to eat. But here's the cool thing is the soup, delicious.
Delish, yeah.
And the salad, really good too.
It was a clear soup. It wasn't a miso soup, but it was a clear soup. It was refreshing. They had some sort of, I don't know, it was like a yellow kind of paste on top of the salad, which was essentially some cabbage lettuce with...
I like the mushrooms.
Stringed carrots, I think, were in there.
Do you think it was portobello mushrooms that were in
there? There were mushrooms in the clear soup, yeah.
Yeah. It tasted great.
They were thinly cut. It might have come from a packet, to be honest. I was wondering because they looked a little bit dried. It made me wonder the process they used. Were they actually slicing mushrooms in the back?
That's what it felt like to me. Like it was sliced.
Okay, I was thinking it might have been. Maybe it's because I've had too many packaged cup noodles and things like that. But no, it was very refreshing. And it's a wonderful complimentary starting dish while you wait for your food to be cooked.
So would you say if someone was coming into New Orleans saying, "Hey, I just came here, I just did Jazz Fest, we're about to leave, but we want to just fill our stomachs up because we're going to be sitting at some airport for 8 hours," do you think this is a good place to hit just before you go there?
I think it's okay. I think if you're looking for the New Orleans food experience, there might be some other more local kind of dishes to go out for. But here's what this is good for. Oh, someone's not that hungry, but they could go for some sushi or some light fish. Someone else wants a full teriyaki chicken dinner. And then someone else wants lobster.
Yeah, you had the lobster, had the filet mignon.
Where do you go to? Yeah, you get the filet mignon, I get the lobster. Where do you go to satisfy all of these different tastes? The person who just wants some sashimi, the person who just wants a really heavy meal. It's hard
to find one location.
To find one that can satisfy all of those cravings.
I think we also have to talk about the sounds going on. Man, that tapping sound, the fire from the heat from the flame, wasn't that awesome?
Yeah, I can still hear the metal ringing. It's so some of the loud things, I'm wondering if they do that to wake themselves up sometimes.
Yeah.
But, it certainly got the attention. One thing you can do if you go there for entertainment is just look at the horrified kids' faces when the fire erupts and the loud noises occur.
Like,
oh my goodness, their eyes get wide and they go, "What is going on?" This is not the schema that I was led to in any other restaurant.
Normally, when you're in a restaurant, it's all nice and quiet, and
Yeah.
and here we have like tapping of metal. We have a fireball.
The different butter and vinegar or whatever was being squirted from the tubes, you know.
Man, I tell you, the amount of butter they put down on
was that butter? Do you think the yellow?
I think it was butter, and I'll tell you, that surface, yeah, I could taste it. But not only that, but I was like, man, these guys have mastered this art, because I can guarantee you, scraping off that grill must be so easy. It's so greasy.
I noticed that they cleaned it while it was hot, which is a little dangerous. But look at that smoke.
Yeah,
when they were cleaning it. I mean,
the steam.
Doesn't butter light on fire if you heat it up?
I was kind of concerned about that.
Yeah, if you just cover the whole thing. Well, that's what he did. He covered the whole thing, and he pulled out a lighter, and he just lit the whole thing on fire.
I think it burns itself out pretty quickly, though.
And I think, you know, this is definitely an Americanized Japanese place.
I hear you.
You just light something on fire. You know, you expected to hear Creedence Clearwater in the background, something like that.
But overall, I would definitely give this place, I would say 9 out of 10.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 is what I gave it.
9 out of 10?
But for what it is, if you're going there expecting Commander's Palace or Giacomo's or, you know, an upscale...
It's not that.
You know, 3 to 5 star...
But if you want to go there for some entertainment, hibachi, maybe
it is
a special occasion,
and you will have leftovers.
Yes, that's the best part, because I feel like sometimes you go to these places, you eat the whole thing, and then you leave, and you're like, oh, geez.
I feel like I should have an Ikura T-shirt for finishing half of mine. You know,
it's like a competition.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this is a good choice. We hope you check it out here while you're staying here in New Orleans, or maybe you live here. Maybe you should check it out then. But overall, I just want to let everyone say we're signing out. This is the Red Bean Podcast, New Orleans edition. This is Mr. Toad and
Dr. Frog. Take care.
We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.